I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Vita and Chip.
Booby shirts are on the way, y'all.
God save the queen.
Did you check your jacket?
For what?
Did you ever check your jacket? Any of the pockets in your jacket?
Yes, babe, I know you didn't pass it to me because I can't tell you how badly I wanted to look at that pic.
Did you check it? It's a yes or no question.
I already said yes.
You checked all the pockets.
I checked it.
Fuck.
You can't pin this on me.
I'm not pinning anything on you. I was hoping for you.
I'm so disappointed.
Here's our show review. Christians to the Lions. The Behemoth has a song literally called
Oh, really?
Oh,
God. Excellent.
How are you? How are you, Mr. Durgal?
So this is where we do the breakdown of what we thought about the show.
Yes.
We're Christians. It was awful, and nobody should ever go to one of those.
They worship the devil. They sacrificed the small goats.
They were drinking blood.
They were drinking blood. Well, there was some blood. I don't know if it was really blood or not at all.
Okay, all right. Let's get down to
serious.
it.
Okay. So, we drove down. First of all, shout out to the big homie Dan. Dan got this one. A press pass.
Yep. So, I was able to get right up there at the stage and take some pictures.
Yeah, you know how you always go to the show and there's all these, like, press people? Well, this one was at the show.
I had a little sticker, which...
You look like a
went
badass.
through the laundry.
Did it?
Yes. I'm so sad. Everything got ruined.
Yeah. All of our memorabilia.
I know. And it was like an important show to me.
I know. Yeah. So,
okay, you want to know something really cool? So we were, the whole concert was at what? The House of Blues? So there was this random sign outside of this restaurant that was literally right next door to where the concert was going to be. And it said, skip the line, inquire within. Like a terrible advertisement because everybody was confused. Wow, I want to drink some of that Red Bull so badly.
But you can't.
I know. Anyway, so apparently you go into this restaurant and you can get, as long as you spend $15, they will sign your receipt and then it puts you in the friggin' VIP line. So what? I thought that was really cool. Yeah. Well, I wasn't feeling good. I was like, Vin, I need to get something to eat. And so I went in there and I was like, I just need something like plain. I was like, can I just have just a plain sandwich with cheese? And anyway, long story short, there's always stuff that happens to me. There was like plastic in my sandwich. Like the French fries were friggin' unbelievable, but there was plastic in my sandwich. And so then honestly, I think there was probably like in between the slices of cheese, there was probably like some plastic. And so that's how the plastic landed in my sandwich. But it was done. You know, I'm pregnant and I'm already nauseated and that was it. The minute I pulled that out, plus they put mayonnaise in the sandwich. And believe it or not, during this pregnancy, I'm like completely like Vin. I'm like, why would anybody ever in their lives eat mayonnaise?
It's unnatural.
So anyway.
It's against God's law as well.
So I'm in there and I'm like, I almost started crying because I was needing so much food and then there was none to be had because I was so grossed out. And then Vin came in and, so anyway, I'm sitting, it was so funny because it was a bar and like, I've actually never been into a bar before. Like, there's no time that I don't remember any time that I've ever been to a bar. And I certainly haven't ordered anything in a bar. So I'm like, how does this work? So I went up and there was like a guy and another guy, but there was like a seat in the middle and like, I couldn't figure out where to sit. People had numbers in front of them. I was confused. I was like, are you supposed to sit in front of a number? But I think those people had already ordered and their number was their order when it comes to them. So I looked to the one guy and I was like, so do I just sit down and just like place my order? And he was like, he looked like he felt uncomfortable. He was like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I sat down and then Vin comes in after I find the nasty in my sandwich. And then the guy to my left, go ahead.
So I'm walking, I walk in and he said something. The people kept looking at me.
Uh-huh.
I was eating outside. I had this like, you know, those like side vendors and she was like, I'm not
having a sausage sandwich on the side of the road.
Which turned out you were right. So I'm eating, I got a mouthful of goop I'm just eating and then this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, aren't you that guy from YouTube?" And I was like, I gave the guy a pound. So it's like, I was thinking to myself, like, I've not adjusted to this YouTube thing,
right?
Because before, that's what I would have done before. But if I would have had the cognition to be like, well, somebody might want to talk to you, blah blah blah. Yeah.
You're mid chew, so and it was like a steak. It said sausage, but it was more like
steak product,
like very hard steak. So there's a lot of chewing to be able to like get that swallowed, so you can actually talk.
And then this one called me and said, "Hey, blah, we get to the front of the line."
No,
I couldn't believe it.
You called me because honestly, I was sitting in there and it was taking me so long, and I was feeling sad. I was like, I can't believe Vin isn't checking on me. I'm inside this bar and I've never been in a bar before. I guess, was it really a bar?
So then I called you. Yeah, it was kind of barish.
Yeah.
I called you.
And then as I was thinking that, he calls me. This kind of thing happens a lot.
It happens with us all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then he calls me and he was like, "Hey, what's going on?"
So I walk in there and I was going back and forth a couple times because I was looking for a trash can because the junk was all on my hand, and I couldn't find a trash can in this place. So finally found somebody who worked. I'm like, "Yo, I need a trash can." People kept looking at me and smiling at me and stuff. And then I went down to sit next to you, and finally this dude turns to me and he's like,
the guy that was on my left.
He goes, "Don't I know you from somewhere?"
And then the guy on the right goes, "Yeah, that."
I said, "I've never seen you before in my life."
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Which was true.
Right.
And I said, it's Vin and Sori, YouTube, blah, blah,
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, it turns out that both of them, the guy on my right said that he recognized my voice, I think. I can't remember. It's been a couple days now. But they, kind of recognized me, but they didn't want to, stare and be, weird and stuff. But once Vin showed up...
Look, Sori... Because when you go to a show, you're all done up and stuff. She's completely unapproachable.
But the baby bump must help.
No. You're completely unapproachable. You look like a famous person. Seriously, you look like a celebrity it's ridiculous.
So
only
Vin
person like myself would be crazy enough to approach you by yourself. So I showed up. I kind of leveled the room a little bit. Yeah. So the four of us went to chill out.
Yep.
I was like, "Yo, let's sit and chill." So it's my guy Jimmy and the other guy from the Navy. I forgot his name. Astaghfirullah.
I don't know. I kept telling myself his name was Mark, but I really don't know what his name was.
Probably wasn't his name. So then we all start talking. I'm like, "Yo, you got to get your credentials," because it was half hour before the show.
So I left to go get my press pass, and when I'm getting my press pass, this person was getting their tickets, and they said, "Sorry? Oh my word! I can't believe it's you!" And I was like, now normally, if I'm by myself and I'm down this side street and I'm not close to where Vin is, I would feel uncomfortable. But he was very friendly and super nice, and I felt super comfortable right away. And that was Russell, and he was like, "Oh," and then he was telling me, how he watches our channel and stuff, and that he was thinking, "Oh my gosh, what if I end up seeing them and stuff?" So it was really cool. I was like, "You want to meet Vin?" And he was like, he said yes. It's funny because I feel I don't know, I can't think of a good analogy, but I feel that you're only viewing half of something if you only get one of us. I feel like people need to have us together.
Right.
So, or they don't have the full experience. So I brought him in, and then he sat at the table, and the restaurant was they were awesome. They didn't charge me for my meal. And they said, "Is there anything else that we can get for you on the house?" And I'm like, the fries were good. So they brought me out some fries and then didn't charge me for that. And then they still signed our receipt, so we were able to get to the front of the line. So Vinny and Russell were both able to get to the front of the line.
Right, because we had 2 receipts by that time, but you figured you already had the press pass, so you were going to get in.
To the front. Yep.
So now I had 2, so I gave one to the big homie.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of us?
And he was so sweet too because...
he bought me a beer.
And he bought me I told him, he's like, "Do you want anything, Sori?" And I said that I would take a water, but I said, just get me a cup of water because I didn't want to have him spend money. But he got me a bottle anyway, which was cool. And then he took out of his bag, he had one of those Laura bars that was a... apple pie flavored, and he said, "Just because you're pregnant, you might want this." And honest to goodness, I was so glad. I get nervous about silly things. I don't know what it is. I'm really some disorder or something. But like I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have nothing to bring into this show with. And like, what if I'm in there and I'm halfway through the show and I like really need to eat, and then I start feeling like I'm gonna pass out and I can't get to the food because the crowd is too big. And like, I was like thinking about all these things. And like the minute he passed through the bar, I was like, okay. So I put that in my bag and I was good. Like I didn't end up needing to eat during the show. But I knew it was there like the whole time. So that was cool. And you know what? When I went through the line, the girl made me throw away my water, but she didn't make me throw away that bar.
So,
Whatever.
well, Russell bought me he's like, oh, you want a beer? I'm like,
Yeah. This is your first beer. Everybody always says, I want to buy you a beer. I want to buy you a beer.
Yeah.
Russell bought you your first beer.
In the history of Vin and Sori, not my first beer in my life.
No, but the first one from the channel, from
Village
the
Beer.
Village Beer.
Village Beer!
And it was a, what?
Well, it was it's right here. It's like Wolves of Siberia beer. It's like a Behemoth beer or whatever. Which will be important later on in our story. So anyway, so that was cool. So it was time to go. So we walk out, and as soon as I walk, because the bar is like in the way of the line. It's like literally like in the middle of the line. So as soon as I walk out, this dude turns to me and his whole face like explodes. And I knew that he recognized me, and I went like that. And the reason is not because I didn't want to, it was because we had to go to the other side of the line.
Right.
And we waited till the last second, and I wanted to make sure I was up front because you were going to be, taking pictures. So I had to be in the front row because I wanted, because you were nervous about that too. So I walk out, and the dude goes, ah! And I'm like, I walk up, I was like, what's good, man? How are you? Da-da-da. He goes, hey, I'm Adam. It was freaking Honest Atheist Adam.
He's like, it's Honest Adam.
Yeah.
But how do you say it?
It's
Adam
the Honest Atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like so much younger than I expected.
Oh, well, he's exactly what I expected.
He is.
I expected him.
But he was so smart.
I thought the dude was in
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Well, he had he had like a mega mind head. Sorry, buddy, but it means you have a big brain. It's probably not going to go over well. But like, we met Adam, the Honest Atheist.
Yeah, he was there with his brother, and
he was literally right as I opened the door. Boom! So take that for whatever you want to call it, sir. Coincidence?
Yeah. I think not.
I think not. It was cool because he was there and his brother was there.
Yep.
Turns out it was his brother's birthday.
Right.
And so he was taking him to a Behemoth show.
Yeah, actually, this is us singing happy birthday to him inside the show.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jane. Happy birthday to you. So anyway, so we go into the show, and then that's when we did the happy birthday thing, which is, it was a very interesting, it's Behemoth. So I thought that the atmosphere was going to be a little bit different because
so did I.
Navel Viscaris is prog metal and things like that.
Yeah.
And Winter Sun is more like fantasy type thing.
Yeah.
But Behemoth is like the devil.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
thought it was going to be like really...
Wolves in the Throne Room's a black metal band. So I was like, okay, this is going to be very, very dark. I saw some corpse paint, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to be a really dark feel. Wasn't a dark feel at all.
But you want to know something terrible? This is what a horrible person I am. So we're out on the sidewalk, and I was like, well, Vin had said before we went in, he's like, now this one might be like very satanic, like, so then I was like, so it got me like a little bit scared because you know how I am, I'm already scared. And so anyway, so like I'm on the sidewalk and I see this guy and he's got like this black leather jacket. He was like tall. He had like, it was like dark on the side and like bright green hair. And I was like looking at him and I'm like, I wonder what that man is thinking about. Like, I wonder if he's like a satanic person or like what he's like. I know I'm weird like this. I can't get away from my roots. And so I was like, I'm like, I wonder, like, if he's just, like, a regular person. Like, did he take a bus to get here? Did he drive here? Did he walk here? Like, who is this person? Like, is he, like, really, like, is he a dangerous person? Is he, like... And so I'm thinking all these things as I'm standing on the sidewalk. And then, anyway, we walk inside. I start realizing that I don't have a friggin' clue how to run my camera in a dark room. And you're not allowed to have a flash, and you're not allowed to use your phone, because that would have simplified it. So I've got my camera, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna look online real quick to see. No, it was saying even experienced people, it's very difficult to get everything properly, like, set on your camera, so you can take pictures in a dark room in a venue like that. So I'm like, great, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna get horrible pictures. And then, so anyway, so I get inside there. Lo and behold, the guy with the green hair was standing there with his camera. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he takes pictures. Maybe he'll help me. He can't be that scary if he has a camera. So I went up to him and I like started, I know it's weird. So I started asking him like questions about it. He was so nice. He like helped me with the settings and helped me with all the stuff. And then he was like, he actually reminded me of my friend growing up, Simon.
Did he have a media pass too, that guy?
It was loud and so it was a little bit hard to hear, but I think that he did. He was behind there. He had a media pass, but he was there because like a friend of his, like he wasn't there as like you're required to get these pictures for your job. He was there because like a friend of his was playing, like somebody dipped out and then a friend of his was playing the drums or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, but I guess he has a whole channel like where you can see his art and stuff. So if
it's Daniel, is that Daniel?
Well, it doesn't matter. I can put it in right now.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to check out his stuff, maybe see his green hair or something.
He took a picture. He took pictures of us.
He did. That's right. At the end, because well, we'll get to that. So anyway, okay. Vin's over there talking to a bunch of people. Like more and more people are like coming over.
Yeah, there's a couple people. Hey, you're the guy from the channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this crowd was. There was like, they were cool. They were like playing it cool. Like, oh, hey man, what's good?
Yeah.
And Neil was
well, we met more people out on the sidewalk too.
Yeah. They're like, and then I saw people like looking around because we technically cut in the line. Because when we got out of the bar, this was before we went to the VIP section. Yeah. When we went to the bar, Adam was like at the front corner of the line.
Yeah, so it looked like we were just going to stay there and cut everybody.
People were like looking around, but you know, it's kind of like, but we got in there. That's when we sang happy birthday to the big homie. And then, so I was with Jimmy. Jimmy was my buddy.
Yep.
And then I had Jimmy over
you
here.
Said that you were going to replace me on the channel.
Jimmy over here, and then I had Russell over there. And so we were just, everybody was talking, just having a good time. And then Wolves in the Throne Room came first. Wolves in the Throne Room? I had never heard of that band before. But
no, we obviously didn't know because before when we did our update videos we said wolves at the gate. We like confused the whole thing. We combined them together.
Yeah.
Vin's like, I'm gonna shout them out because they're there, and I'm gonna give them a proper.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
This is us guys. So well they came up and like the way that it works I guess at this place when you have a press pass you go behind for the first 3 songs and then you have to get out of there. So like I went back there and like there was this one lady that was taking pictures. She didn't like me from the very beginning. She was just mean and sour toward me and I tried to be nice to her but it didn't change anything. Like I was tripping over all kinds of stuff back there. I was taking the worst pictures. And like I could not like position myself right. Like it just seemed like
so uncomfortable at the beginning.
It was so ridiculous, and I could not stop laughing. And then like when the band initially started playing, I was like right in front of a speaker, and like it like was like this really loud noise, and so like I like jolted because it like surprised me. The whole thing was like...
It was a disaster.
It was hilarious. And I was like, this is so terrible that I'm laughing at this band. Like, I wasn't laughing at the band. I was laughing at the situation that was surrounding it.
Yeah.
But then it made it look like I wasn't taking these people's band seriously. I'm like, somebody's going to probably punch me in my friggin' face.
No.
So I'm like, I don't know. But I couldn't stop laughing because... And it was funny to, like, watch, like, the... It's a little bit cutthroaty back there. Like the people, everybody wants to get the best angle of the bands and stuff. So like you have like this like territorial feel, and like I was just like taking all all these pictures. And then
well, it's such an interesting contrast when I was watching, because I don't know if he's a lead singer or whatever, but there's this one guy who was like really into his music, and he's like, ah, and you were like right there taking pictures.
Oh yeah.
And like, are we showing pictures now as you're talking? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. Well, I compiled them together into a video of them, and it's supposed to go on the website.
Okay.
So keep looking out on the website. It might take a couple of weeks, but you'll see them there eventually.
I don't know if we want to do that.
That's what you originally told me.
Yeah, but if it's going to take a couple of weeks, we shouldn't do that. Plus, I need to get my... yeah, so like the lead guy was like really, really into his music, and you were just, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay, now I remember. It was actually, I think, the second band where that like loud music came. The first band was the girl on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were... Well, it was cool because Adam gave me the download. He's like, all right, these guys are atmospheric black metal, which is probably one of my favorite subgenres, is atmospheric black metal. Yeah. So the girl on the keyboards and I don't know what her name is, but so that's Wolves in the Throne Room. They were like, they had, and the sound was really, really good.
Yeah, I thought the sound was good on all of them.
Yeah. They sounded really, really good. The stage presence was a little bit different with them than the other bands.
I wasn't a fan of the stage presence. I felt like they weren't a team. I don't know. Maybe they had a band fight or something before going out there, or maybe I misread them completely.
But I don't know if that's kind of like their... I mean, I've never seen a black metal band live. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Neo isn't black metal. You know,
you're right. It was the first one that I was thinking.
So it's a black metal band. So I don't know. Like you're supposed to. I don't know if it's a different energy. If that's part of the shtick, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, because black metal is. You know, it's such an interesting genre to kind of piece together, because it's always going the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Right. Yeah.
So they tell you like supposed to have a big stage, and but it's like the main guitarist guy, the guy on the mic, he was like very like into his stuff and lifting up his guitar, and then you had a couple other people in the band who were just kind of like, you know,
so maybe that was how they present themselves, or maybe I'm not sure.
But as far as like energy and things like that, they were the least energetic band.
Yes, but if I didn't look at them, at their energy or anything like that, I loved what they sounded like. I enjoyed the whole thing. That was the one. I had a couple of regrets from the show. That was one of the regrets. The first song they did was amazing. I loved the first song that they did. I just love the tremolo picking, and it's melodic. I just love it. So I wish I'd have known what the first song was. So if you know the first song on Wolves in the Throne Room in their set list, let us know.
Let us know. And then there was like the third or fourth song, there was like this musical interlude where, because I was standing right in front of the guitar, it's like he went into the keyboardist and it was just them two and they were playing. Oh man, that was so good.
Yep.
I love stuff like that. But I don't know the name of the song, and I didn't think to. I was just like kind of in the moment, and I didn't think to ask Adam, what song is this?
Yeah.
So that was Wolves in the Throne Room. They were up for about 4 or 5 songs.
Yes.
Because you guys did your 3, you guys got back, and it was really cool because everybody let you come back to me.
Yeah, they did. I thought that like people were gonna be like, because remember how like the last time people said like it's vultures to the front and stuff like that? It wasn't like that. I just said excuse me, and I like made my way back to you.
Plus Russell would
Russell would like stand, because they were right up against the gate, so Russell would take my spot, and then when I would get back, he would let me go back to my spot. And this was this show, nobody was bumping my ass.
Well, we'll talk about that soon.
So yeah, but I think that that's a good plan, like having like villagers around and stuff. So there's like,
well, yeah, you know, it's just better when it's cool. It's cool when there's village people there. For sure.
Yeah.
So then, At the Gate showed up.
Yeah.
Another band that we had no clue about. I didn't know they existed. I didn't know who they're Swedish.
I loved them.
They're a Swedish death metal group, and they
were so fun.
They had so much that lead singer, I don't know who he is, but he has so much freaking energy.
Yes, I know.
I'm gonna sound terrible, but they were older.
I know. Huh? He like picked up his the microphone stand.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he gonna throw that?
Multiple times.
I like wasn't sure if he was gonna throw that because his energy level was so high. And then like all of a sudden, like it was so funny. All of a sudden, like I like turned toward the crowd because I kept looking at the crowd because I just love seeing the crowd. Like, I love seeing all the people like packed in there like that, and like everybody has the same like reason for being there. Well, all of a sudden, like
Jordan Peterson talked about that.
I see like shoes and like legs like this. I'm like, what is happening? And it was like, again, so loud. I had no earplugs. I had some in my bag, but I didn't want to use them because I didn't want to like cheapen the experience. So I ruined my ears instead. Anyway, so like I see these legs and I'm like trying to back up because I don't want to get kicked in the head. And then I bang into this other guy that's trying to take pictures. I'm trying to tell him that I'm sorry, but it was just too noisy. And then like I see this person come flying over the front, and then all of a sudden like the like security guys or whatever, they're like pushing everybody out of the way, and I'm thinking, I'm pregnant, like I gotta be careful, like I can't get thrown up against the side of the stage. And so like he grabs the kid and I'm like, that kid's in trouble, they're gonna kick him out of here. And then he just like sets him down, and then the kid like goes out and goes back into the crowd. I'm like, nobody's in trouble? Seriously? I'm like, okay. And then like it kept happening where these people would like crowd surf to the front, and then the guys would catch them.
At the gates, it was just one after the other crowd surfing the entire time.
People like really liked them, and like the energy level definitely increased when they got up there.
It was really interesting because I was kind of like, it was weird. I was having a tough time at the show for whatever reason.
I could tell.
For whatever reason. So I was just like, and like halfway through the first set, I was like, oh man, I wanted to go home.
Aw.
And then like at the gates showed up, and it was just, and they're singing, I'm sure they're singing about, I was listening to his Suicide this and da-da-da, and they're singing kind of like weird, you know, but like the energy that he brought, and you could tell he is such a positive person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm sure, you know, they're singing about whatever, but you could tell that he was just such a positive person, and like, he was bringing so much joy to the...
picking up his pants.
Yeah.
He was so cute.
Yeah. He was just bringing so much joy to people. It just kind of like won me. I was like, all right, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Things are good here.
Yeah.
Like, relax, we're good.
Yeah.
And,
Is this the band where one of the players looked like Dan? You were like, hey, look, he looks like Dan.
Yeah, the lead guitarist or whatever. We were standing right in front of him.
I'll put it up right now.
This dude looks exactly like Dan. Shout out to the big homie. So they were...
Dan with long hair.
Yeah, they were really extremely heavy band. They were very, very heavy.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I was like, so like, I'm still behind there, still taking my crappy pictures and like laughing and just having such a good time. I was like so happy back there. And I was like, this is so weird because like, I was completely opposite than I thought I was gonna feel. I thought I was gonna feel like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
But I just loved it. I loved it.
Yep.
So then I made my way back to Vin and then listened to the last few songs there.
And then you were, you know, get your hands in the air, jumping around.
And I was like holding myself back actually. Like I wanted to do way more.
You were jumping around. I was surprised. I was like, no.
I'm like inside I like have way more like, I don't know, extrovert energy, but like there's like something like on the outside of me that's like, no, don't do that, like hold everything in, like, and so I don't know why I'm like that, because like I always want to like just break out and just like be exactly what but for some reason I hold back. I don't know.
Maybe when you see Slipknot and Korn, it'd be different.
I don't know. So I was like, but I was like really excited. So like there was some parts where I was like, you know, throwing up some symbols too, but I was putting the peace sign, just so you know.
So at the gates was really, really fun, really good.
Yeah.
Really good band, really good songs, really good energy. They're definitely older. They've been around for a while. Mm-hmm. And the drummer, I was like, look at the drummer.
Yeah.
Because he was playing like crazy, but he looked like he was in some serious suffering. So he was playing, and
if I have a picture of him looking like he's suffering, I'll put it in now.
They put everything out there, man. Those guys, they put everything out there. It was a really good band. Really good band. So then they left, and then of course the headliners are...
Yeah, so Behemoth is coming, right? So they drop down the thing, and like the curtain, and then I go behind. The whole time I kept checking my battery. Plenty of battery. Wasn't even making a little like tick down that I even had used any. And so I get back there and I put, when I think Behemoth is going to be coming out soon, I put it on record, because what I wanted to do was record Behemoth coming out and then record the curtain dropping and then the crowd just going wild. Right. it was not, first of all, my battery started blinking red. So I'm like, shoot, I have no battery? Are you serious? I came here for Behemoth. I have a bunch of pictures of these 2 other bands that I never even knew before. And now I'm not going to get a single one of Nergal. And I'm like, what the heck? And so I was like, trying to like save my battery, and it was a disaster. I was so disappointed. But so as I'm sitting there, I'm like looking out at the crowd, and I'm like, everybody was getting on their phones as they were waiting. And I was thinking to myself, I bet you back in the day before people had cell phones, the anticipation would really start rising because you're waiting for the band, because it would look like the band was coming out because other people would like come there and like set things up and whatnot. And then they would leave. So like a few people would start getting excited, but a lot of people were missing that because they were on their phones.
It's true.
And so
I remember when I went to the Slipknot show, and the crowd, the thing fell down, and everybody was just Slipknot.
Yeah, I bet.
It was just an insane.
I bet.
You know, but
when the curtain dropped here, there wasn't a big reaction. I was so disappointed. I'm like, are you serious? This is Nergal. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Half the people had to get off their cell phone.
Exactly. To get into the show.
Yeah.
So they missed the curtain dropping. They missed the smoke rolling out and all that. I was like, that's exactly what's happening.
Well, it was cool because there was this guy that wasn't there, but somehow he made it pretty close to the front because I was at the gate. And then I'm pretty sure he was talking to Jimmy. And it was cool because Jimmy had, a Catholic background. And then he was sharing his story with me when we were eating at the bar, where he was talking about, because he's not Christian anymore or whatever. Mm-hmm. And of course he's a big Behemoth fan. Mm-hmm. And so he was talking about how he lost, it was like a cousin or something like that to cancer. She was cancer and dying of cancer, and he had been praying like crazy, and she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And there was some tragedy in his life where like 3 people died like back to back to back to back, and he was just like, that's it.
Yikes.
And so anyway, fast forward. I hear Jimmy and this other guy talking in the back, and I was kind of like in my own zone because, like I said, I was having a really hard time for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to Jimmy and this other guy talk in the back, and they were talking about how Nergal overcame his leukemia and what an inspiration he was to them. And it kind of clicked for me. It's like he lost his faith because of that terrible situation that happened in life. But like I said in the other video, you got to find something that kind of gives you the strength to overcome the adversity that comes with existing in this world. Mm-hmm. And so when the corpse saint was talking about how Nergal overcame it and what an inspiration Nergal was, and Jimmy was like, yeah. And of course, Jimmy looks like a regular Red Sox fan. He's got his hat to the back,
he
regular shirt, like whatever. And then the other kid has, of course, you could tell, like, okay, like,
he's a fan.
He's in the band. Like, I wish I would have got the guy's name, but
is that the tall guy that was standing behind you?
Yeah, and he had corpse paint and all that, and
that girl, I guess she was with him, I'm not really sure. She was really, really small, but she was so cute with her corpse paint, and she had like...
so cute, I'm sure.
She was.
I'm sure that's what she wanted to hear.
I know, but she did such a good job, and it was so cute, and then she like put, what is that symbol, that goat thing with the... She had that like on her forehead and stuff. Anyway, she was so small. She was so cute.
Yeah, very scary. Very scary.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
I'm trying to compliment her. But it just clicked for me, like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you track his story and you track how Poland, the Catholic Church, the Christian Church treated Nergal, and all the adversity he had to go through, and then Christians celebrating when he's, whatever, and then I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I lost those people like Jimmy did, finding that strength to, because a lot of it is just like belief in yourself and self-empowerment, and not, they're rejecting a certain form of Christianity. I don't really believe that they're rejecting Christianity per se. Because I don't believe that if a person really knows who Jesus actually is, that you could reject him. But anyway, whatever they're rejecting, I probably reject it too. But anyway, like if you lose your faith, but then you find something that gives you strength and empowerment, I get it. Uh-huh. And so it was just really touching to hear those guys talk about how Nergal's story and his leukemia and how he overcame it and how he bounced back and all that. Like, I was just like, it was cool. I was like, and that was a little bit different than the first show. The first show we went to was Novelist Scars and things like that, and they're a great band. Everybody loved them. I loved them and things like that. But like, Behemoth fans seem to have an emotional connection to, and we do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, you know, I love Nergal. I love Orion too, for whatever reason.
You do,
like, people,
I know. Yeah.
People, we really love Orion. Believe me.
If you only knew.
But it's like, okay, it's the same thing with Korn. Like, Korn, you just get attached to the people.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was an important moment for me, because it's like, initially I was like, well, it's gonna be, I didn't think that, you know, Behemoth was gonna bring a bunch of spiritual darkness. I just thought that they would attract spiritually dark people.
I know, yeah.
But it seems to me
that energy was not like that.
It seems to me they're attracting people who are very hurt by life and like on the brink of giving up, and now they have a figurehead and a soundtrack to not give up.
Yeah.
And to not quit and to break forth and live your life, you know. And so I thought that was very, very inspiring to hear, and I was like very grateful to hear that conversation.
Yeah. It's funny because during when I got done taking the pictures and then I came around to where you were, I was watching Nergal and I was thinking, this guy overcame leukemia, like, and then I was thinking about the church's response when they found out, and like just the terribleness that went along with it and stuff, you know.
What they say, just maybe.
I think that when he got it, that there was like they were cheering, or they were like, "This is your," you know what I mean. Like it wasn't like, "Oh, well, let's pray for him," you know. It was some horrible.
Well, it's this ridiculous thing where like it's such bad strategy to be so judgmental. Because it's like, if you say that God afflicted him with the leukemia and then he overcomes the leukemia,
then what?
Did he overcome God? You idiot dumbbutt! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, let's have a group prayer for Nergal, and then if he dies, say God judged him.
Right.
But,
oh my gosh.
Then if you do a group prayer and he gets healed, you can say, see, God healed you, you should be grateful. You know what I mean? Like, it's just on a practical level.
I think they didn't think he was going to get healed, honestly. I don't think that they thought, I think that they thought, that's it.
Yeah, he's a beautiful brother.
Yeah, but nobody stops that. They're not stopping to look at that, you know?
They should have prayed for him.
I agree. I think that it was...
Because God loves Nergal a lot.
I know.
A lot.
It was crazy because when I was standing there, like, some people are gonna think this is really weird, but I was like taking the pictures, and like I said, I kept turning around and looking at the crowd, and like I felt like in my heart that God said, I love these people.
Oh yeah. But like, yeah, that's why listening to those people talk, I said, you know, I got a lot of really, because a lot of it's Nergal, you know, but like you don't think about the effect that he's having on people. And
I agree with you. I felt like in the room that there was like a lot of pain.
A lot of pain in the room.
Yeah, but there was a lot of searching. Like,
also true.
There's like the pain, and then the people like just like, but there's the pain that makes you like search. And I felt like that people were, you know, and Nergal was giving them something that they, you know.
Well, it's interesting because at the Neo show we had really good conversations, but you know, hey, but in this show there was a lot of what makes you tick, what's going on in your mind, what you know. It was a lot. The question that the conversations were a lot deeper. So anyway,
even one of the things that Nergal said, like in the middle, like I can't quote him verbatim. Maybe you guys can find it online, but he was talking about fear and like how fear. The negative effects of fear.
I actually disagreed with him on that statement.
You did?
He said that.
Why?
He said we know that fear is the mother of morality, or something like that.
Yeah, but after that.
Well, no. There's another thing about fear. We'll talk about that in a second. But he said fear.
Maybe I got something different out of it.
He said we know that fear is the mother of morality, and then he's like, you know, blah and go be free and blah blah blah. Which I don't agree that fear is the mother of morality. I think that love is the ultimate mother of morality. But if you're not a loving person, and if you don't get the concept of loving your neighbor, then the only thing that's going to motivate you is fear.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? So it's like, I agree with him that fear is not a good way to create morality. I think that that's bad. But I don't think self-reliance is the answer. I think love of neighbor is the answer, obviously, as a Christian. But again, if he's coming from a context where, you know, the Catholic Church is, I mean, I'm sorry, but they've used fear a lot. And so if that's his only understanding of how people have created moral systems, then of course. You know?
Yeah.
so then we're going, and he came by where we were.
Yeah, after I got done taking the picture. Well, wait, let me say the picture parts. So I'm like back there taking pictures and stuff, and like there was like one part where he was like right there, but I didn't get any good pictures of it because I couldn't figure out my freaking camera. And then I was like, and I was thinking at that point, I was like, I wonder if he knows like who I am or not. Like, who knows? Or even if he sees me like right now, because they're in the middle of a show. Like, do you actually see the people or not?
Right.
And so, like, I took, whatever, the best pictures that I could. And here they are. And so then I came around to where Vin was. Oh, my word. Before it started, like, before the show started, when it was behind, like, they had all the stuff set up and they had the smoke, like, rolling in and stuff. It was actually a really cool picture back there. And I am a super curious person, so I had, like, the perfect seat. Like, yeah. I looked over at you. Did you know what I was saying?
No.
Because, like, I looked over at you and you looked, like, all, like, sad and bummed out over there. And I was like, I, like, caught your eye and I was like, I pointed to myself and then I, like, went like this. And I was going to go like this, but I didn't know if you know. I was like, I'm nosy and I love seeing behind this curtain. Oh. And, like, I kept seeing people, like, looking at me to, like, see, like, is he there? Is he there? And I'd be like, nope, But it was fun. And the people were nice, too. Like, I was sitting on the stairs. Like, I don't even think I was supposed to be there. But, like, my legs were hurting so badly. And I, like, wasn't really feeling my best. But they just, like, I just kept rubbing my belly. So that way they would be like, oh, she's pregnant. Because most... If it's a chubby belly, like, you're not trying to rub it, you're trying to, like, hide it. So I'm like, just know this is a baby in here. Let me rest.
Your thought processes are amazing. Unbelievable.
So, and when I was back there, like, the, one of the security guys was back there. Well, there was one part where, did you see the security guy go like this to me?
No.
Like, he did, like, something to me. Because... I wanted to see the people. Like, I wanted to see them so badly. I wasn't tall enough to see, like, over all the crowd. So there was, like, this little benchy thing. And I, like, just pumped up on it, like, real quick, just to see the crowd for, like, 2 seconds. And then, I don't know if he thought that I was going to crowd surf off of there. But I had told Vin, I'm like, all right, when I get done taking the pictures, I'm going to throw myself into the crowd. Vin's like, no. Okay.
So then
Oh, wait, no, I didn't finish. So I asked the security guy, because, again, I'm a super curious person. I need to know what's going on. I said, are they allowed to crowd surf like that? And then he goes, well, we have a sign that says they're not supposed to or whatever. But he's like, we let them as long as it doesn't get too out of control. And then he said that it helps the night go by faster. I was laughing because I was like, there's no way in the world that I would want to be catching those sweaty bodies, no shirts. No way. But they were fine with it, he said. So I'm like, all right.
So then Nergal, because this is about Behemoth.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So Nergal comes, he comes around, he's playing around everybody, because he's really good at audience engagement.
Yeah, he is.
Probably one of the best audience engagers I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't been to a rock show, since Neil, but anyway. So Nergal goes over there, and he was like, I don't know, 2-3 feet away from me.
Yeah, he was us.
I said, hey!
He was walking away.
He was walking away. I said, hey! And he turns.
You want me to put that clip in here right now?
And he looks at me, and then he goes back to walk, and then he kind of turns and has this face, and then he goes, and then he hands me he
throws the pick. And I see Vin, like, go like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, he threw the pick. And I'm like looking, I just like, where's the friggin' pick? And then I was so curious to know what his picks looked like. And then Vin's like, I'm sorry, I'm taking over.
Go.
So I'm like looking and like, I'm like, can you feel the pick? But you can't talk because it's so loud. You can't even communicate.
Yeah.
So like, Vin's like opening up his hands and I'm realizing there's no friggin' pick in his hands. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, no, like this can't be happening right now. There's all these people that want the pick, like, it could have gone anywhere. So I'm like, he, like, opens his hands completely, and it's obvious. There's no pick there. I'm like, no! And then I'm, like, looking around, and I see it. Like, in the front where you're supposed to go to take the pictures, like, on this little step, it was right there. Well, the guy that was beside me, God love him, but he was really short. So I'm like, okay, I have a pretty good chance that he's not going to try to get it. But then I'm like, but he might really want it. So I'm like, okay.
He was cool, because he didn't attempt for it at all.
I don't think he saw it.
Yeah. So then Sori goes over.
So I like
she's a bad mom.
I like
and
tighten my stomach muscles and like try to jump like over like the gate enough to get the pick, and I get these 2 massive cramps in both my legs. So I jump back down. I'm like, no. And I'm like, all right. But now I've drawn attention to myself. I'm like, somebody's going to snatch it. So I jumped up there one more time and I grabbed the pick. I'm like, yes. And I didn't want to let it out of my sight because I was so afraid that something was going to happen to it. I'm like, this is my second show. This is the first time that I've gotten a band pick. Like, you have a whole stack of band picks. And I know that Nergal was throwing it at you, but I'm the one that got it. And so Vin's like, he puts his hand out and he wants it. And all I want to say is, no, I don't want to give it to you because I don't want it to get lost. But you can't talk in there. So I passed it to him. And then I was saying, give it back to me. Give it back to me. And he was like, just kept on rocking. I'm like, no, give it. He couldn't hear me. So I had to let it go. And I'm like, it's going to get lost. It's going to get lost. It's going to get lost. I wanted to inspect it. I really only had 2 seconds to look at it before he asked for it and I passed it to him. I wanted to look at it so badly. Anyway, so we get out. Go ahead. Your turn. We'll finish that pick story in a little bit.
I was so touched by the guy's story that I said, hey, give it to one.
Oh, he did.
I said, give it to the guy in the back, which, now it appears that that's what we should have done.
I disagree with you. I mean, you could say that about everything.
I was so touched by the kid's story behind me.
He goes, give the pick to them.
Give the pick to them.
What? I'm like, no way. No. I'm like, this is my first one.
By the way, my booty was touched multiple times.
That's what he said. He didn't tell me until after the show.
It was you said you saw the girl.
I saw the girls pushing closer, but I didn't know that you were being.
I don't think she was intentionally trying to touch my booty.
Oh, well, all right.
It was just, she was trying to get closer and closer to the front.
And she was very small. Both of those girls were very small.
So then, they're doing some costume changes and things like that. Yeah. Like he came out as a black pope and stuff like that. I mean, I'll tell you, now that we're friends with some of these people in these bands, like, those shows are expensive. Mm-hmm. Like, you can be really stripped down and keep the money for yourself because you got a certain budget that the label gives you.
Yep.
But these guys, as soon as they get the money, they invest it right back into making a really good show.
Yep.
So there's like a lot of really cool, elaborate costumes and things like that. It was unbelievable. So in between the show changes, somebody goes, "Hail Satan!" And people are like, "Hail Satan!" And then I heard this voice say, "You're going to let that go?"
I couldn't understand what you were saying. My ears were ringing.
So I said to myself, all right. So then another thing changed or whatever, and then again, sure enough, "Hail Satan!" So I go, "Hail Jesus!" And then literally right after I said that, Nergal goes, and he didn't hear it at all because the place was just loud. It was just a matter of coincidence. But Nergal goes, "What do you guys think of Christians watching YouTube?"
No, and
Christians analyzing black metal.
Something like that, yeah.
And he goes, "Do you dig it?" He goes, "I fucking love it."
Because I fucking love it.
I have 2 of my friends here. And then here's the video of the rest of it because we missed the first part of it because I knew he was going to be talking. I knew he was talking about us, and then he explicitly said Vin and Sori. So I look. He
said Vin and Sori?
Yeah, he did. He explicitly.
I did not hear him say our names.
So I'm looking at her, and sure enough, she doesn't have the camera. I'm like, "Play this, please."
I didn't have my camera out. The other camera was dead.
If you have the full clip, that would be great.
Please send it to us.
He went off for like 30 seconds about, da 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 da.
Yeah, well, you're seeing it.
And
they're seeing it.
Are you familiar with that? Do you dig it? Because I fucking love it. I honestly love it. And I'm not even joking here, okay? And the fact that people are here in the first row, just banging their heads, it means that we can communicate beyond boundaries, okay? And the fact that someone stands on the other side of the barricade does not mean that we need to fight. We can communicate on several different levels. It's called a meta language. So if you meet them later on, buy them beer, show respect as they're showing respect to us tonight, alright?
My brother!
Now we're gonna play something most accurate to this story, I hope. This song is called Decade of Fear!
I already saw it. So it was cool. It was funny because he said buy them a beer or whatever. Well, Well, Russell had already brought us a beer, and it was Wolves of Siberia.
Yep.
So, but when he said like, "Do you dig it?" the whole crowd, yeah, and he mentioned Vin and Sori Christians, yeah, they were, and I'm sure like most of those people didn't know who we were.
They were cheering just because Nergal was talking. Probably.
But it was a cool moment because it's like. He had the power to say anything.
Oh, I know.
He could have swayed the crowd any way he wanted to. And he understands what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And about understanding and mutual respect. And it's crazy because we don't always agree with Nergal. As a matter of fact, most of the time we're disagreeing with him. But it's a very interesting. It was a very interesting moment because I wasn't. As soon as he started talking, I knew he was talking about.
I know because you said get your camera out. I'm like, why? What? And then by the time I got it out of my bag and up, I missed the beginning. It was such a bummer.
I knew he was talking about us, but because the way that he looked at us when I was like, yo. So that was such a cool moment. It was
How
really
long
crazy.
after the yo did he stop that and do that?
It was about 2 or 3 songs. I just knew he was gonna say something because like the way that he looked at me, he's like he couldn't believe that we were there, you know. So, which is weird because I'm pretty sure he knew we were coming. But he probably thought we were not going to come.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
so that was just a really, 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 really cool moment because like I had never seen anything like that in a rock show, and I've been to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Christians.
Yeah. Two
Christians.
In Christianity, like if it's almost like an honor to like be able to like for like more people to know like that you have faith, like and what your faith is. So for me, it was like a really cool moment. Like I was like, "What? We're at this show?" And like the entire place just started being Christians. I was like super excited.
Well, he said, show them respect like they showed us, as you just saw in the video, and I thought that's what it's about. It's not about trying to convert any. It's not trying to convert him or make anybody see it your way. It's just about like that mutual respect. And he said, we hail you guys. Well, he said that to the whole crowd. But I like that tradition of hailing a person.
Yeah.
And honoring them.
Yeah, it was cool.
And,
it was really
that's
cool.
that's what it's about for us. It's like, okay, he says very provocative, crazy, terrible things, blah blah blah. But even like God equals dog, and there seemed to be a lot of pain there when he was talking about I cannot forgive and all this. So and you caught that. So that was a really really cool, touching moment. You know, to realize that there are things that can still bring us together. Jordan Peterson was talking about that, where he was talking about when everything, the body, soul, spirit aligns, and the guy interviewing him was saying, well, when does that happen to you? And he said, he was talking about sex was one, and then he said it's almost like a rock show. And he said it's very rare, but you sometimes like everything kind of congeals together and whatever. And I said that a lot. That if you don't go to church, going to a rock show is it's a spiritual experience. So it was just a crazy moment, and that has a lot of implications that I'm still unpacking. Like whoa. So that was just really cool.
It was wild.
It was wild. It was crazy. And then after the show, like people were coming up to us talking again, just like really talking to us and like. Trying to hear our point of view and what's your website? Who are you guys? And I just said, just type in Christians Behemoth in YouTube, you'll find us. So
some people were like coming up and just like thanking us for what we do on YouTube. I'm like annoyed that I didn't ask the guy why. Like why say thank you?
Yeah. There were a lot of people saying thank you, but I just think a lot of people have been hurt by Christians and Christianity, and people are not so fragile that you have to agree with everything they say. People are okay with disagreement. It's just when you come at them and you condemn them and the biggest thing to me is that you won't listen to them. Yeah. I think they realize we have a genuine interest in what they have to say and where they're coming from. Yeah. And so, but it was a crazy thing that to hear thank you so many times and people wanting pictures and things like that and all that.
I definitely like enjoyed. I think that like each one of my experiences, like the more that I can like get away from like my fear or like whatever. Yeah. The more that I'll be able to like enjoy each one. Like this one I was able to enjoy more because I was less nervous. it was really cool. Like, I really had a good time. I had a really good time. I was so tired when it got done, though. Everybody was like, hey, they were going to some burger place or something.
Burger joint.
Yeah, and they wanted us to go with them, but like I was like done. I was so tired. Like sometimes when I get so tired during this pregnancy, I feel like I'm gonna just cry or collapse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but Behemoth put on, start to finish, the best show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I've seen in a lot, and they've been around for a while. It's mind-boggling to me that they're able to aesthetically.
Yeah.
You know, there was one clip where I don't even know the name of the guitarist, but he was windmilling.
Yeah.
And I said, get that freaking picture. You're seeing it right now. It's like, dude was windmilling like crazy. I'm like, you have got to get that picture. It was just amazing, like energy from start to finish. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing, like I said, I was having a hard time the whole time, but the biggest thing that I got from the whole thing, because I don't know most of the Behemoth songs, mm-hmm. but Nergal, it was so inspiring just to watch him, mm-hmm. and to when you see a person do like what they were born and created to do, and he was so, and he's not a very tall person. He's not very tall. He's probably my height. Uh-huh. But when you see somebody just like, man, I'm like, man, this dude, like, he's so powerful and he's, mighty, like he's just, man.
And it didn't seem like he was like faking it for the show either. Like, it looked like he loved what he was doing.
Well, it turned out on it because he kept spitting. And it turned out, I was like, why is he doing that?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Well, it turned out on Instagram he had like a sinus infection or something like that.
I was taking pictures and like all of a sudden I like got sprayed by something. I'm like, the fuck is that?
It's the mist from the machine.
I'm like, okay, because I'm OCD big time, So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, what was that? I don't know if somebody just peed in the crowd or what happened. And so, like, I don't know what's happening because I told myself, I'm like, well, Nergal looks like a clean person. And so so you guys are gonna think I'm so weird. And so I told myself the incense that were coming out in the fog, that those were actually cleansing incense. So it was good. Like, I was good to go. Like, that's what I told myself to, like, just be able to push forward. I know.
You are ridiculous.
I know. I can't help it.
I think Desecrator is the guitarist, is his name. The biggest thing that I got, though, from Nergal was just his the zest for life. And the zest to just, that passage in Ecclesiastes that says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might.
Oh, he did, for sure.
And just whatever, he just does what he does with all of his might.
Yeah, yeah.
And without pretension and it's like, like that Jonathan Edwards quote, his resolutions that he wrote when he was 16, to live with all my life while I live. Mm-hmm. And I think, just...
Live with all my life or all my might?
Might, I think he said. Live with all my might while I live. And that was really, like I said, I was having a hard time, but it was like, that, I was having a God moment there just watching him. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, relating, really relating to God in that moment and watching. And it was kind of like, look how, your brother, look how he is.
Yep.
This is, he could have died. And so now, and it was really like, that's what I was getting from God. Like, this is your brother, and look how look at the zest for life that he has. Yeah. You need to be like this. There's things in your life that are difficult or hard, or you have to deal, you have to deal with depression. You're going to deal with it your entire life, but you have to, and then later on reading Instagram that he had that sinus infection and things like that, and he could have mailed it in.
Right.
He could have mailed in that show.
Right.
But he didn't. He went out there and gave 100%, and he's just spitting his nasty junk all over the place and let the stage people clean it up later. But he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And that was just very, very, very inspiring. And him stomping his feet and stuff like that is just a lasting impression for me.
Yeah.
And I love him. I love him. I think he's great.
He's a beautiful brother. I knew it.
He's a beautiful brother. That's what I got from him. That's been I've been really dwelling on that moment for a while. And I haven't had an experience like that in a rock show probably ever. probably, I've had other very significant experiences, but that type of experience and that moment with God and things like that, like I hadn't had something like that. But, you know, so yeah, I loved that. It was great. It was great. Great show. Great job. Love them. Always love them. You know, that's it.
Yep.
All right. What do you got?
So we have more video, more pictures and stuff, but we'll try to get those out to you guys at some point. We'll let you know when those are going to be available.
Oh, we can't find the pic, so there's that.
Yeah.
So.
He lost the friggin' pic.
Well, I don't think
it was
it's
in that
proper
Instagram.
to say that we lost it. I'm just saying you can't
so
find it.
So he posted an Instagram video of the pic, and then, like, that was it. That was the last time it was seen. So I never got it back in my hands. Mr. Nurgle. Like Zoe did her thing.
Please send us
P.O. Box 7024.
P.O. Box 7024. Lewiston, Maine. 04243.
Just in case.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is
it was a 10. I love the show. A 10.
Yeah.
A 10. A 10.
It was a 10. Well, they really put out the effort.
Yeah.
They really did. But did you
Just
see
for
that
one.
Orion had the big, like,
headdress
thing with the feathers?
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on right now?
It was great.
The only other band I've seen ever really attempt to go there is Marilyn Manson. Like, Marilyn Manson in his heyday, he'd have like 2 or 3 dress changes, and they were very elaborate and things like that. But
I bet.
But
yeah,
they were great. All right, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.